Inside Out 2, y'all. What are your thoughts, Jenna?
Anxiety annoyed the fuck out of me, but like that's anxiety, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's the point of the movie. Anyway, Inside Out 2 is a 2024 American animated coming-of-age film produced by Pixar, sequel to Inside Out.
Oh, Maya Hawke was in it too.
Yeah, she's anxiety.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I knew that.
Did you?
I hate this interview.
It's not an interview, it's a review.
I hate this.
But let's actually discuss Inside Out 2. Jenna, what would you give this movie out of 10 stars?
I think it makes sense the age that she's coming up.
What? That's not, no, I said 10 stars. What would you give it out of 10?
Oh, like an 8.
An 8, okay.
7.
Okay, I would give it more of a 6.
7.
It was really average, but what were you saying about her?
Like, because Riley's getting to, like, what, 13 years old?
Yeah,
That's
Riley's
the age
like
where the emotions
schooler.
are starting to change.
Yeah,
where
she's...
anxiety, depression, like, insecurities
Yeah,
are
Riley has
starting
hit
to come
puberty in this movie, apparently.
Exactly, and I think they took it in a really good way.
They took puberty in a really good way?
Yeah, like, they
did.
talked about it, they brought it up, and they didn't, like... in a really good way that all these new emotions are coming and they're confusing and it's just trying to deal with it and go about it.
I think, honestly, that is, you said it really well. And the reason I gave it a 6 out of 10, I'll just say it, is because I think the movie itself is kind of like repeating the same thing from the last movie. But here's what I want to say. The storytellers and the screenwriters of this are like trapped in a really weird area where they have to create like an entertaining kids movie but also keep it like accurate to, you know, emotions and to like just a child's mind, just a mind in general.
I agree. It was a little like, oh no, they got like lost again.
They have to like make their way back to headquarters again. And it's just this like repetitiveness that for me feels a bit formulaic. But on top of that, they're always like adding new things. Like you have the new emotions, you have the new islands, or you know how they have to keep Riley's sense of self. I like that. I just did not think it was like enough to really anchor the movie, especially when you think of the stakes. They're not like crazy high. I mean, I don't know what you thought, and like you could tell me, but I really thought that like her just trying to like make friends at hockey camp for like a week or a weekend, really. And then
I think that's the point. Don't you think? The point is the stakes aren't that high, yet your anxiety is making it seem like it's this huge thing. Like, you have to do, like, we have to, like, get into it. Like, when in reality, it's not that big of a deal.
Like,
but
get into the...
Isn't that anxiety, though?
Get into, like, the older hockey league with the girls,
Yeah, they
right?
make little minuscule things seem like the biggest end-of-the-world, like, life decisions.
I think that's true. No, that's all true. And it really is very much, like... does a great job showing that, like when they're in the big cubicle and they're like, anxiety is making you all crazy. She's making you think of all these. I think it's a good like message to kids. I think part of me just wished it had been like more of a kids film in a way. Like it is a kids film, don't get me wrong, but it's stuck like trying to explain things.
Does it like, smell like a Frito?
What, your dog's foot?
Paw. Her paw smells like a Frito. Smell it.
A little. I don't know. It's very fluffy. But yeah, anyway, I thought like when they're trying to do a good job like telling a kids movie or just like show the story as a kids film, but it just feels like they're doing too much to explain all the emotions, and it just like doesn't feel like a story at the end of the day, more than it feels like it could just be a lot shorter. Does that make sense? Like it could be, it really just is short as it is, but I just did not like it just did not work this time around as much. Yeah. Did you agree or no? You thought you gave it an 8 out of 10, so you liked it.
No, I changed it to a 7.
You did. So does the 7 out of 10 still stand? Like, where do you feel with that?
Yeah, because
did you find it emotional? Did you find the movie like?
I didn't cry.
Yeah, that's the thing. It doesn't
I
have
cried
that.
In the first one.
It doesn't have that same hit.
Nothing's gonna hit Inside Out the OG.
Yeah,
like nothing, like Bing Bong. That teen will forever make me cry.
And let me say, Riley running away from home, couple that with Bing Bong, or whatever. That actually is a really good sense of like, kind of like growing up. Here, you don't get that as much. Like, I get it's her trying to be a teenager, but there's like one scene where she has like a panic attack at the end, and yeah, she's like having issues with her friends, or she like shoves her friend, but I feel like it's just too small. It really feels too small, and I feel like the emotions being so separate from Riley also just, it creates this, in my opinion, weird like void where you're like focused on them because they're in Riley. That sounds really weird. I like debated saying that, but the emotions are inside of Riley. They're in her. They're in there. And basically it's hard to like kind of have it feel like this through line of emotion, because like you have that scene where joy like is like, oh, there's no joy when you're older or something, and that's like supposed to hit. But to me, it just did not work as well this time around. It felt like you couldn't get that magic you had the first time around.
Exactly.
And I think it is entertaining. I did like it. I really.
Bing Bong would have made a comeback.
He should have. There is a lot they could have done, and I think it all does then boil down to like that dream scene at the end, or not dream scene. I'm sorry, like the post credit scene where she speaks to the dark secret, and it's like some dumb shit about the burning a hole in the rug. Yeah, that could have been so much more impactful. People definitely would have complained. You know how the internet trolls are. Like with Lightyear, they were like complaining. Really? Maybe that's why maybe that's why they didn't do that. But I think, honestly, that would also be just a crazy moment. It's like, what's your deep secret, Riley? And then it just goes, gay, and then just goes back into the vault. That would be a chaotic Disney moment. But to be real, I do think that it was a fine movie. I thought the story was better than Despicable Me 4. Those movies are like on two total polar ends. Oh, yeah. Despicable Me 4 is like all gags, all Looney Tunes. There's no plot. Inside Out 2 is extremely short. It also is, similar in runtime. It's so quick. And it has a plot, but the plot of Inside Out 2 is just so... It just is so one note, in my opinion. There's nothing that you feel like they had this adventure. It was so epic. Like, that was so worth it. Like, when I go to a movie, I want to think that was just like a great experience. Yeah. That was so like, what a great 2 hours, or what a great 1.5 hour. But like, I just didn't feel that with Inside Out 2. And I don't think that, kids will like it, but I don't think the characters are going to like reverberate this time around. I think it's all just not as emotionally impactful because you've already seen them do this already. And it's not like the emotions themselves are learning. Like in the first one, you actually had them having all deal with sadness. I thought that was a huge thing. And in this, you do have anxiety. Anxiety is the one emotion, right? But it just doesn't work as well this time around. Or at least it just doesn't feel as unique this time around. Mm-hmm. So I think that's one of the main issues. Just with it feeling like a story that is great or just like, going to be memorable. I think if Anxiety had then created like a secondary villain, maybe that's a bad idea. I don't know, but I just feel like it was too quick. I think Anxiety being the main antagonist, but also like, kind of like, was she an anti-hero? Maybe. She was, and then at the end, she kind of like comes around. But I thought that Anxiety was really not a great like choice for the antagonist, and they should have just had like one more thing.
Maybe like, I'm gonna say depression, but they have sadness already.
Yeah, sadness is I would call sadness depression. I thought that was her name.
No, it's sadness.
I know, I always thought it was depression. But a good idea for this film would just be add another villain, add another like layer to the story arc, add Riley having some more external conflicts. It just feels like everything was too short. The hockey match, the girls, the just everything, all the relationships, it was too quick. And the emotions could have had more to do, like ennui or wee or embarrassment. I actually like how they don't have a ton to do, but I think too much of the focus goes to Anxiety, and Anxiety wasn't interesting enough. That's like the core issue. So let me know what you guys think of Inside Out 2, and thank you guys for watching. I think it's a entertaining movie, made a ton of money, it was very successful, but it's not a great successful movie. It's a very simple, easy, successful movie. So let me know what you guys think. I think Pixar could do a lot better.